Om Gam Ganapatye Namaha, Kaliyugada Kalpataru, the fifth delight, Shri Raghavendra Sarvabhouma. Chapter 30, Gurukula Life. Madurai was a hub of wealth, splendor, and a sanctuary for all forms of knowledge and arts. Vishwanatha Nayaka, who was a feudal lord under the Kannada Empire, had significantly developed the city. Presently, Kumara Krishnappa Nayaka was ruling Madurai. Like his predecessor, Vishwanatha Nayaka, he was deeply devoted to Shri Vijayendra Tirtharu and had earned their blessings. Under his administration, Madurai thrived with prosperity and joy. In one of Madurai's main streets stood the grand Vasudeva Nilaya, surrounded by a 5-foot-high enclosing wall. This 2-story expansive house belonged to Lakshmi Naranacharya. It had multiple rooms, 2 spacious halls, exquisite artistic furnishings, and a dedicated shrine, which made the house magnificent. The ancestors of Lakshmi Naranacharya were close associates of the Madurai rulers, serving the land and the language with their valor and scholarship. As a result, Lakshmi Naranacharya was held in high esteem in the royal court. He had earned fame and prestige at an young age as a chief scholar in the court and as the principal instructor of Samskrita Vidyapita. A few days after arriving from Kaviripattanam, Lakshmi Naranacharya enrolled Venkatanatha in the Vidyapita. On an auspicious day, he personally began teaching him Veda, Kavya, that is poetry, Nataka, that is drama, Nyaya, and Vedanta at home. Thus, Venkatanatha's Gurukula life began. Just as Lord Krishna, the omniscient and repository of all knowledge, studied under Sandipini Acharya, Venkatanatha pursued his education under the care of his elder brother. He diligently studied the Yajurveda of his branch under his brother's tutelage. Many intelligent students also studied alongside him. Lakshmi Naranacharya would recite lessons 2, 5, or 10 times, or sometimes only once, depending on the topic. Venkatanatha would retain the lesson in his memory and effortlessly recite them back when asked by his guru. During periods of non-study time, Venkatanatha would read literary works like Madhva Vijaya, Ushaharana, and Amritaharana with his peers. However, once he read something, he wouldn't revisit it. Noticing this, his teachers decided to test him on the poems they had taught. To their astonishment, Venkatanatha could fluently recite the verses, explaining their syntax, meanings, verbs, poetic ornaments, interpretations, and special insights. His extraordinary retention power left his teachers amazed. While his peers would spend day and night repeatedly studying and reflecting on lessons to improve their understanding, Venkatanatha's intellect flourished remarkably, aided by the blessings of Lord Srinivasa and the fruits of Timmannacharya's virtuous deeds. At the Vidyapita, students would gather in groups and play various games. Observing their enthusiasm, Venkatanatha thought, I will perform penance with even great dedication than the enthusiasm they show in their games. As if to practice asceticism, he engaged in games with his peers. Once he observed how a game was placed, he would demonstrate it better than anyone else. In one instance, he swam across the fast-flowing Kirtamala river with the precision of an arrow, reaching its target with wind-like speed. The path to reach the goal was of 2 types, curved and straight. He explained that while the curved path was arduous and risky, the straight path was safe and effective. Drawing a metaphor, he conveyed the message that the supreme Brahman should be attained through straightforward methods like Sravanam, that is listening, and Mananam, that is reflection, rather than complex roundabout paths. To illustrate this, he swam directly across the river to reach the shore, demonstrating his insights. Similarly, his friends played the game Gudu Gudu, that is Kabaddi, in teams on the sandy river banks. In this game, participants must hold their breath while continuously saying Gudu Gudu, that is Kabaddi Kabaddi, avoiding opponents, tagging them, and returning to their base without realizing their breath. This challenging game required mastery of breath control, making it easy for those skilled in pranayama and nearly impossible for the others. Venkatanatha excelled in this game, showcasing his superior abilities. Later, after becoming a monk, Venkatanatha was destined to chant the pranava, that is Om, countless times. Each chant required the practice of pranayama, which consists of 3 stages, that is exaltation, puraka, that is inhalation, and kumbhaka, that is retention of breath. Richaka involves releasing the breath outwards. Puraka involves drawing it inwards, and kumbhaka involves holding it within. To prepare itself for this pranayama practices he would perform in the future, Venkatanatha seemed to treat this game as a form of training. In this way, his games were not mere play, but a means to focus his mind on the supreme Brahman. Lakshmi Narayanacharya and Venkatamba, who had been childless, were overjoyed when Venkatamba became pregnant, possibly due to divine blessings of Venkatanatha's virtuous influence. In Rajamannaragudi, the local ruler Chinna Chavapanayaka invited Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu and Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu to preside over the grand Madhva Navaratri Utsava and associated scholarly gatherings. He made extensive arrangements and sent a message inviting Acharya Lakshmi Narayanacharya to attend. Respecting the Guru's wishes, Lakshmi Narayanacharya informed his wife and departed for Rajamannaragudi. At Rajamannaragudi, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu conducted the Madhva Navaratri Utsava and the associated scholarly events with grandeur. During this festival, Pandit Ramachandra Acharya delivered an exceptional explanation of Sri Madhva Vijayam, captivating thousands of devout listeners. Each day, hundreds of students and scholars participated in debates on Vyakarana, that is, philosophical discussions, various scriptures, examinations, music, storytelling, and poetry competitions, showcasing their intellect and artistic talents. Venkatanatha actively participated in all these events, demonstrating his extraordinary ability and earning the blessings of the Guru. His flawless recitation of the Vedas in forms such as pada, that is word by word, vakya, that is sentence wise, krama, that is sequential, and jata, that is braided, as well as his deep understanding of poetry, logic, and Vedantic scriptures, left the scholar astonished and deeply impressed. Today marked the auspicious occasion of Madhva Vijayamangala. After the worship and offerings of Tirtha Prasadam to Sri Moolarama by the revered Gurus, a grand feast was held for over 1,000 Brahmins. In the evening, the scholarly assembly concluded with discourses by the Guru. Following this, Maharaja Chinna Chavapanayaka honored the students, scholars, and artists with special rewards. When Maharaja was about to present the special rewards, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu smiled and said, "Maharaja, do you remember when your elder brother Channapanayaka once bestowed significant honors with your hand? It was then that I received the title of Balasaraswati. This young boy, Venkatanatha, is none other than the second son of the great Timmanna Acharya." Surprised, the Maharaja responded, "Oh, the son of such a distinguished scholar, that explains his remarkable brilliance, intellect, and eloquence." Deeply impressed, he arranged for special rewards to be presented separately to Venkatanatha under the Guru's direction. The next day, as Lakshmi Narayanacharya came to the assembly with Venkatanatha to seek permission for the return journey, Sri Sudhindra Tirtharu said, "Welcome, Acharya. We saw Chiranjeevi Venkatanatha when he was just 3 years old. How wonderfully he has grown. What radiance shines on his face now. Having such a remarkable disciple is truly your great fortune." Lakshmi Narayanacharya replied, "Indeed, he is an extraordinary boy. All his greatness is the result of the blessings of the Guru's divine faith." Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu added, "The responsibility of nurturing Venkatanatha into a great scholar recognized worldwide lies with you." Lakshmi Narayanacharya humbly replied, "With the Guru's blessings and guidance, nothing is impossible. As per your instructions, I will prepare him accordingly. Meanwhile, our Guru Raja will come to Kumbakonam to study all scriptures under the younger Sripada and become a great scholar. He will be elevated to the position of the Asthana Vidwan, that is court scholar, of the great Mahasamsthana. Additionally, we will make him the principal of the Vidyapita at Ramachandrapura, where he can live a life of honor, respect, and popularity with his mother and wife." Such is the extraordinary love and grace of the Gurus for his disciples. I will carry out your instruction and return soon. The Gurus, delighted with this assurance, blessed them with Phalamantrakshita and special honors. With devotion in his heart, Venkatanatha travelled back to Madurai with his uncle Lakshmi Narayana Acharya. After Acharya departed, Sudhindra Tirtharu smiled gently and said, Gurudeva, when Venkatanatha was 3 years old, you placed him on your lap, showered affection on him, and shed tears of joy. We could not understand the significance of that moment then. Could you kindly explain it to us now? Vijayendra Tirtharu, smiling softly, replied, Listen, when our Guru handed us over to Surendra's Gurus, we were so attached that we couldn't bear to part with him and were overcome with tears. Our Guru consoled us and said, Do not worry, my mind will always be with you. Moreover, I will come to your seat as your disciple. These words stayed with us. When Timmanna brought 3-year-old Venkatanatha to Kumbakonam, upon seeing the child, it felt as though the same form, beauty, and radiance of our Guru had manifested again before our eyes. It was as if the great Guru himself had taken birth in the form of Venkatanatha. That is why we feel such love and affection for him. It is now your responsibility to ensure Venkatanatha receives a complete education and to groom him as your successor. He will elevate the glory of this Mahasamsthana to unparalleled heights. We share this with you so that you may fulfill these divine tasks. Keep this confidential and focus on Venkatanatha's progress. Hearing this, Sudhindra Tirtharu was overwhelmed, his body covered with goosebumps. Bowing deeply with reverence, he said, I am blessed, I am truly fulfilled. I will act according to your instructions. Following this, the Guru and disciples proceeded for evening prayers. When they returned from Rajamannarugudi, Venkatanabha listened with delight as her husband and brother recounted the grandeur of the events there. When Venkatanabha was in her 5th month of pregnancy, Acharya organized the Humudisova ceremony, and in the 7th month he conducted the Pumsavana and Srimanta rituals with great grandeur. Guru Raja Acharya, who attended the celebrations, left for Ramachandrapura after ensuring that his mother and wife would stay back to assist with Venkatanamba's delivery. Gopamma and Kamala Devi, who remained behind to help, provided immense comfort and satisfaction to Venkataramba. The already close bond between her and her sister-in-law deepened further. In the 9th month, Venkatanamba gave birth to a son who would carry forward the family lineage. After the initial postpartum rituals and auspicious bath, Acharya performed the Jatakarma and Namakarma ceremonies, naming the child Narayana. Guru Raja Acharya then returned home with his mother and wife. Venkatanamba's son Narayana became the darling of the household, and Venkatanatha enjoyed playing with the baby, taking immense joy in his antics. Venkatanatha began his day early, rising at 4 a.m., completing his morning duties and reflecting on the lessons from the previous day in Tarkashastra, that is logic. After practicing the Veena, he performed his morning ablutions, Sandhyavandana, and fire rituals, that is Agni Karya. He then joined his fellow students to study the Vedas and Vedanta with Acharya before heading to the Vidyapita with his Guru. There he delved into other Vedas, grammar, and Mimamsa Shastra. Returning home, he reflected on the day's lessons while the Acharya performed the deity worship. After completing his afternoon meditations and reciting mantra and hymns, he dined with his relatives and returned to the Vidyapita. At the Vidyapita, he studied literature, that is Kavya, drama, that is Nataka, Alankara Shastra, and yoga philosophy, practicing various yoga postures. Later, he joined his fellow students for discussions at Vignadi, completing his evening Sandhyavandana. There, before returning home, once back, he performed fire rituals, recited stotras and mantras, and spent some time playing affectionately with Narayana. After dinner, he retreated to his study room, practiced the Veena for a while, and then rested. Through this righteous and disciplined schedule of studies and rituals, Venkatanatha earned admiration and affection of his sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and Vidyapita faculty. and the fellow students. He grew significantly in both knowledge and physical well-being. Lakshmi Narasimha Acharya performed the Chaula, that is tonsure, and Aksharabhyasa, initiation into writing and learning rituals for Narayana in his third year. In his fifth year, he enrolled Narayana in the Vidyapita for formal education. Although Narayana was studying at the Vidyapita, Venkatanatha took special care to teach him hymns, that is stotras, and poetries, encouraging reflective thoughts. Venkatanatha had immense affection for his nephew and Narayana. In turn, he had deep love and respect for his uncle. Witnessing this bond between her husband and son, Venkatanamba was overjoyed. Thus, the days passed happily. In Ramachandrapura, Guru Raja Acharya's wife Kamala Devi gave birth to a son. Guru Raja Acharya named the child Venkatanarayana. As Venkatanarayana grew older and reached 5 or 6 years of age, his father ensured that he began his Aksharabhyasa, teaching him various scripts, vocabulary, mantras, and hymns, thus laying a solid foundation for his education. When Narayana reached the appropriate age, Lakshmi Narasimhacharya conducted the Upanayan, that is sacred ceremony, with great grandeur in Madurai, formally initiating him into the study of the Vedas and Shastras. Hari Om. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.